we're here to protect you and the ones that you love. It's a good feeling to know that our efforts aren't going unnoticed.
It actually brought tears to my eyes to know that we have this support.
You're welcome. I must just say you're welcome. It's stressful, but we're not going anywhere.
Welcome to the edition of Bucknell Women's Basketball Through the Decades. I'm excited today to be joined by my decade, the decade of the 80s at Bucknell University, although one of our guests does carry to 1990, but most of our basketball days are in the 80s. And this is a great opportunity for our fans at home to catch up with some of our former Bucknell basketball players, as well as an opportunity for Coach Woodruff, who's still a relatively new coach with the program, to meet the players that played in the program before he took over and to see who was part of making Bucknell basketball what it is today. So I'm going to introduce our guest. The first guest is Marika Cornet from the class of 1988. That's a great class, Marika. I like that class year. She was captain of the team as a senior. She had 1,310 career points, which still ranks 12th all-time at Bucknell. She still ranks among the top 10 all-time in block shots, which she's third, field goals made, sixth, field goals attempted, fourth, rebounds, seventh, and rebounding average, 10th. So I want to welcome Marie and thank her for taking the time out. Our second guest is Susie Hopper from the class of 1990. Susie was the ECC rookie team member as a freshman, and then she was all East Coast Conference second team as a senior when she averaged 17.5 points per game. She's 1,228 points in her career, which ranks 16th on Bucknell's all-time list. She's in the top 10 in free throws made, free throws attempted, and block shots. And I want to thank Susie for joining us. And our guest today is Jennifer Wallace from the class of 1989. Jen was the ECC rookie team member and rookie of the year as a freshman for the conference. She was an all East Coast Conference first team member as a sophomore, junior, and a senior. And as a senior, she was the East Coast Conference Player of the Year. Jen logged 2,112 career points, which ranks second all-time on Bucknell's scoring list. She's one of two Bucknell women's basketball players to have her jersey retired here at the institution. She was a three-time academic All-America first-team selection, so she hit it out of the park in the classroom as well. And she was inducted into Bucknell's Athletics Hall of Fame in the class of 1999. So welcome to Jen, and thanks for taking the time out. Coach, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Todd. I appreciate that. Hi, ladies. It's great to meet two of you. Jen, I've met before. She attended our alumni game, and I am glad to report she still got some game. She can still get buckets, and she certainly is still very competitive. That comes out right away. She's still
I'm waiting to get my teammates back on the court. Come on, girls, next season.
There you go. Let's start recruiting right now.
Yeah, right. The training is more like it. If we're playing half court, maybe.
Well, we did a little bit, actually. But it's great to spend some time with you. I appreciate the opportunity. As Todd mentioned, we just finished our first season here at Bucknell. And as we begin, I just want you all to know that my eyes are completely wide open to the fact that our success in many ways was due to the fact that we are built on a strong foundation. And that was the work of you all and many others who have helped put Bucknell in a good place. And we aren't blind to that. We know that, and we appreciate all your efforts and what you've done. With that said, we're going to throw you some softballs. These are not, this is not Dateline. I'm not, what's his name? Mike Wallace. This will be easy going. So let's have some fun with it. We'll go in order. Todd instructed me not to say oldest. We'll go with most experienced with the first question, and that is Maria, I believe, right? Class of.
It is. Yep.
Okay, so Maria, you'll go first. Take us back. Just walk us through your recruiting process and it up here in Lewisburg at Bucknell.
So when I was being recruited, I got recruited. I can't even remember the coach's name. She ended up leaving before I came, and it was quite a rebuilding year that year. We were 7 freshmen, I think 3 sophomores and 1 junior. It was kind of a tough start, and that was Lori Howard's first year. So we had a record of 24-22. It was pretty painful coming from high school where we all excelled. But it was great. By the time we graduated, I think we had the most winningest record to that point at Bucknell. And the recruiting process, yeah, I don't remember all the details. It's been 35 years or more.
Ish.
But yeah, I mean, I was really proud of our team. We worked hard. We had, I think if you add that up, we had 11 or 12 players, and we had a grad assistant that would play with us because we typically had somebody injured. So it was a pretty tough year, but I think we made the most of it.
Great. Jen?
So specifically around the recruiting process?
Yes.
So I have to say, I was recruited by a number of different schools, and a couple things really brought me to Bucknell. One was obviously the beautiful campus. You set foot on campus and you immediately fall in love with it. I also have to say I was very impressed with the coaching staff at the time. Lori Howard had come out to see me play in high school quite a number of times, and seemed to be in pretty hot pursuit. So that obviously as a high school senior made me feel really good. And it was a growing program. It was, as Marie said, it was a program that was just it was young. They were starting to turn around. They were coming into their own. And I knew I could be part of a program where I could, from game one, make a difference and be a part of a building program. And we ended up doing that, set all kinds of records. I think the 4 years that I played, I can't even count the number of records that we set collectively as a team. And the number of Hall of Fame people that we've had across the team over those 4 years that I was there. So pretty impressive start to, I think, what started off the program a good 30 years ago.
All right. Yeah. So I actually probably looked at the most eclectic array of schools. I'm actually a third generation legacy, so I hadn't, to be honest, really considered Bucknell. Lori had recruited me, but I had gone on my 5 other visits, and everywhere from Syracuse to Wake Forest to Georgetown, and had that experience where I had such a good experience everywhere I went. I was kind of like, oh, I'm going there. And my dad came to me one night and said, why don't you just look at Bucknell? She's come to a couple games, And so just to placate him, I agreed to take a visit up. And honestly, from the time I did not have, it wasn't one of my 5 visits. I don't even think I did an overnight. But from the time I stepped on campus, it just felt so comfortable. And at the end of the day, I knew I wanted an actual degree that carried some class. And the reality is, and I still, to this day, I still donate to Bucknell because just in addition to what I got out of the athletic program and what I learned on the court about competition and camaraderie and team and all those other great things, at the end of the day, the first job I interviewed for in pharmaceuticals with my psychology degree, which I really wasn't qualified for, I asked the guy when he offered me the job after 3 interviews, why me? There are 5,000 Merck reps that just laid off. And he said, your Bucknell resume got you the first interview. You got the second and third, but that name got you that first interview. So, at the end of the day, I knew that not only did I want to combine the athletic experience, but I really wanted the academic credentials as well behind me, and Bucknell could give me all of that.
Great. Thank you. So Jen, you look at this one first. If you can narrow it down, give us your most memorable experience as part of the women's basketball team. If you can narrow it down to one.
Wow. Well, unfortunately, during our 4 years, we never actually made it to the ECC championship game. I would say that would have been the most memorable. And I am envious of the current squads who have made it to the Patriot League finals and the NCAA tournament. A lot of the rules have changed over the years. So I think there was one game. I mean, we didn't have a 3-point shot in the beginning. I think I'm not sure if the size ball actually got smaller over the course of time, but there were a lot of rule changes which actually increased the speed and flow of the game. But I would say one of the great, two things. One is the road trips, I think, were phenomenal. We had a pretty close team. And so I just remember hotel nights where we were kind of getting ready for the game and sort of preparing and doing, not meditation, but do you guys remember we used to do kind of the visualization of winning games and walking through the process and all that. And then there was probably one game that was a double overtime win. I think it was against Delaware. That couple last second shots that went in that was truly exciting. It was one of the best games I've ever had. I would say that's one. And then we had a significant fan base of friends and it went from all corners of the campus, from sorority sisters to fraternity folks to just people from different curriculum, engineering and all that used to come to the game. So even though we were in Davis Gym before the new gym, Soika Pavilion, was built, we had a really cool home crowd. And we had a lot of people come. So I think it was a combination of the camaraderie of the team, the fan base that we had, and then some of the really great wins that we had over time.
That's great. Well, you mentioned Davis Gym. Hop has not left. She has stayed. Gym. So Hop, take it away. Give us your greatest memory.
And of course, it's got to be all PG-13, right?
Of course.
Yeah, I think it's all tied to exactly what Jen said. You of course remember the personal accomplishments, the great games, but I think the overwhelming sense was the camaraderie, the shenanigans, the time in the team locker room, that kind of stuff, nonsense on the bus. I mean, that's the stuff that 30 years later really leaves you with that sense of Bucknell and what that experience was like. I mean, Jen mentioned the fan base, and again, I think that's still something that's really unique to Bucknell. When I brought my kids up there, you still are able to have a life outside of basketball. Whether it be your academic, groups that you're involved with, or sororities or whatever. I think that is still like such a unique and awesome aspect of Bucknell is, that there really is more to it than you just in your silo playing your sport.
Great.
So I'll recount a couple things. I really fondly remember January semesters. Part-time, we had 2-a-days. Sometimes I think we even might have had 3-a-days. But again, that goes back to the camaraderie and all of us just really.
You guys don't have Jan term anymore, do you?
They
no
don't?
more Jan term?
Really?
No.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we're here, but there's no classes. They're kind of professionals that month.
Okay. And then the other memory was my freshman year. We were at JMU for a tournament. And again, as I mentioned, we had a bad year. And team was kind of down after the first game. And on the bus, Coach Howard says to us, if you guys can answer this question, we'll go to Hojo's and get ice cream. And the question was, who was the coach prior to Charlie Woolen for the men's basketball team? Do any of you know the answer?
Yes.
Go ahead, Todd.
Valvano?
Jim Valvano.
Yeah, Jimmy V, right? Yeah, 1
So
year.
Grebe whispers Valvano to me, and I say Jimmy Valvano. And we go to Hojo's for ice cream. And who is there at Hojo's with a recruit for NC State is Jimmy Valvano. So we all got together. We sang Ray Bucknell. Had a big picture.
Way.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
You can't make that up.
That's a great story.
It was perfect. I don't know if she kind of heard through the grapevine that he was going to be there, or if it was truly surprised.
I can't believe we've never heard that story before now.
My poor family has heard it about 5 times every time we drive through.
Well, maybe that was the genesis for tradition that still goes on today. I inherited it. When we win a road game, we stop for ice cream. So maybe that was, we have yet to see any celebrities, but we do stop. So you guys started that one.
Right, that was pretty cool.
Okay, we're up to number 3. So looking back on your experience, is there anything that sticks out that you may have done differently about your experience? Susie?
Oh, Susie, you can start with that one.
Yeah.
That's not a
Keep it
loaded.
PG.
All right. Yeah, but it's probably not all appropriate for this.
Okay, we'll say in terms of basketball.
You know, I wouldn't have injured my ankle junior year. You know, that was a tough year for me. I remember injuring it that was not fun. Sitting out and rehabbing injuries is never fun. I think we were relatively lucky, this group on the phone. We seem to have, I know that we lost someone picked when a knee blew out, but these guys, Jen and Marie, you guys were never really injured.
Yeah.
No, I had one injury that was shin splints, I think, and I missed like 4 games only. But I tell you what, that was the most miserable 4 games of my life, of not being able to play and wanting to, and just having to ride the bike or do my thing while I was waiting for my shins to recover.
Yeah, I think we did, and maybe, not of our own choosing, but we did a lot of cardiovascular conditioning. But I think we might have, I think we probably as a team could have benefited more from a different weight program, in terms of, I think that players today are so much stronger. But we could run circles around them maybe.
Yeah, and Susie, I would agree with that, because if I remember, you remember the little gym that we used to go up to? It's along well, it's not there anymore, but it used to be along the Hall of Fame pictures. Yeah. And it was a little kind of attic free weight room or weight room. And we would go in there, and the minute the coaches would leave, because this was 30 years ago when weightlifting wasn't necessarily as appealing, it was just coming into its own for women. And we would, as soon as she would leave, we would quickly do like our 10 reps, and then we would get off the machine. So to your point, we didn't really see the value of weight training as it pertained to successful basketball. And I think as a result, the game has totally changed over the last 30 years to what it is today, where it's a much more balance of strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
And what we didn't have in strength, we made up in attitude. So it's not like we.
There you go. That's right.
Don't think that's what it was.
That's right.
Marie, any thought, anything stick out you may have done differently?
Nothing really comes to mind. I think just appreciate the experience more. I mean, it was great being part of that program, and having this team and having each other to depend on. I wish, I think I appreciated it, but probably in retrospect, I didn't appreciate it enough.
Okay, so real softball here, easy one. Just maybe give everybody an update on where you're at now in life. What are you up to professionally, family wise? What's your world look like right now? So I think Marie, I think we're back to Marie. Yeah.
Okay, so I just celebrated 29 years at Fannie Mae. I work in information systems, and I'm actually really busy these days because I'm working on a payment deferral program for mortgages, which is really going to help people that are affected by COVID-19.
Yeah.
So on a professional basis, that's kind of what I've been doing. And I actually live on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and Fannie Mae is in DC and Dallas, and I work remotely, and I have for the last 15 years. So it's kind of nice. And that has led me to be able to keep a balance. I have 3 kids. My oldest is a junior at MIT, or just finished his junior year at MIT. Wow. And plays lacrosse there. My middle is just finished her freshman year at Davidson down in Charlotte. And then I've got a high school freshman. And all 3 of them played basketball through high school. Well, actually, my son had multiple injuries, so he didn't play lacrosse and football instead. So that's my family and my husband of 25 years. And then I'm unfortunately, right before my son was born, I kind of gave up basketball. It was getting kind of rough in DC, playing league play. So I am now an avid volleyball and tennis player.
Awesome.
Nice.
So you were social distancing long before it was
Yeah.
working at home.
Yeah. And actually, I live on a beautiful river on the eastern shore of Maryland. So I feel
Cool.
very fortunate. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So
I guess I'll go.
Jen, yeah.
Yeah. So I have, let's see, where do I start? I've been married for 25 years. Actually, we celebrate our 25th anniversary this year. We're trying to figure out where to go when we're
Congrats.
able to go somewhere. So plans are on
Eastern
hold.
Shore, Maryland is beautiful.
Yeah,
I
there you
got
go.
a place you can
Nice
stay.
to say.
I have 3 kids. One is a graduating senior. We just had a virtual graduation for her from Wake Forest, and she's actually interested in going into sports digital media. So hopefully she stays in the sports industry. Then I have a sophomore in college who's at Brandeis University near Boston, and she's a varsity soccer player there. And then I have a junior in high school boy who is, we live in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and so he plays football for the high school team. He's going to be a senior this coming year, which we're praying that the season happens as it should, because he wants to play football in college. So he's actually been to Bucknell a number of times and talked to the recruiting staff and the coaching staff there. So that would be totally cool. I've worked for 18 years now, I think, with Merck Pharmaceuticals. So we are in the midst of COVID-19 with all of the PPE equipment and trying to create a vaccine. And I'm also working remotely, although I don't normally work remotely. It's been quite an adjustment to kind of learn the remote ways of working, and I definitely miss sort of the social interaction on a day-to-day basis. But I've got all of the crew at home here, so there's all 5 of us kind of getting in our spaces, our own spaces, doing the social distancing thing and online schooling and work and all that. From an athletic point of view, just real briefly, I'm actually still very active. I've taken up Spartan racing the last 5 years, so I've traveled actually all around the world to do a couple of races. Last year I did Greece, the year before I did London.
Wow.
And I really enjoy obstacle course racing. Hated running, so this was something that would break it up. And I also play actually in a adult senior, I'm now a senior, women's basketball program, and we're looking to potentially compete and go to nationals next year in a 50 and over program. So pretty excited about that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Hop, good luck following that, kid.
Yeah, exactly. I still live in Davis Gym, as you can. I'm actually in lovely McLean, Virginia, with my husband of 20-something years. I think it's 2. 2 kids, healthy. None of us have smothered each other during the whole quarantine or anything horrible like that. I have been with the same company, Higher Right, for 15 years. I'm a director of sales over here. And I too work remote. I'm used to being out and visiting clients and prospects and out on the road. And so it's been interesting being home a lot, but good. I don't play too much basketball other than maybe some horse out in the driveway. I had my 2 daughters played basketball. My husband played in college as well. And we were really hoping to get a basketball player. She did, the oldest one played in high school, but they were both club volleyball players. And so we play a little bit of volleyball. We've had a ferocious 2-on-2 old people against the kids going on during the whole pandemic thing. And once we moved from a regulation court to a significantly smaller court, my husband and I are taking it back. So we're taking a couple games back. You don't have to move so much. So it's a little bit better. So that's been good. But other than that, there's not a lot of running. We tried to, I did enough of that in my 4 years at Bucknell to pretty much do me for the rest of my life. I am a big yoga. We're very competitive about, those balancing poses. I got a wicked crow pose going on. And yeah, so we're really into that. Something that in my 20s and 30s I found extremely tedious is now really invigorating. And somehow we've made yoga competitive. So it's all.
I have to say, Susie hasn't changed one bit over the 30 years.
I
In what
seem to
way?
remember a time when we had to wait until Hopper could run a 7-minute mile. Was it something like that? Like, and it took,
So when you talk about memories, this one stands out really distinctly. I'm telling you, we were the most conditioned team
we were.
now when I was there. The first practice, preseason, whatever, she has us meet out by the golf course. Coach Howard has us meet out by the golf course. And I'm a freshman. And she's like, okay, we're going to do a 5-mile timed run. And I ever so, demurely raised my hand. And I was like, is this the cross-country team or the... I'm here for the women's basketball team. I'm in the right place.
Well, now
Wasn't quite sure she appreciated my sense of humor at that point.
now we're getting the good stuff. So let's get everybody's best story about young Todd Newcomb.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's not part of this call.
Yeah. I got too many stories.
Yeah, funny. He still looks good. I got to give him credit. I didn't know him back then, but he looks young and dapper still.
Pretty much, it looked exactly the same. Really, not much has changed.
I think everybody does. Everyone's looking pretty good.
Okay, next. So Jen, just in I'm sure everybody's in different places in terms of how much you're able to follow the team or how much you followed it since you left, but just general thoughts on how things have evolved, how you've seen the program grow. We'll just kind of leave it open and you can take it whatever direction you want.
Yeah. So I think the program has come so far. Like I said, 30 years ago when we sort of started with the rebuilding of what Marie said, like 4 and 18 or something was her freshman year. And from there we went on to winning seasons and now Patriot League championships and NCAA appearances and undefeated seasons. And it's just phenomenal how far the program has come. It's exciting to see, especially now that my kids are of age where they're starting to look at schools and my son in particular looking at Bucknell. So I would say it's been great. I've gotten to know, I haven't been able to attend quite as many games as I'd like, but I try and get to 1 or 2 a year for the women's program. And I always try and get up for alumni weekend where I can see not only past teammates, but also the girls play. And we get to do a little bit of run in there. So I commend the coaching staff over the years and the administration for how far the program has come.
Thank you. Who's next? I lost track of our rotation here. Who's next?
go ahead, Hop.
Same with me. I just echo Jen's comments. I think the coaching is obviously taken a step up and just dramatically. You guys, the way that you have been able to gel these teams and really play together as a team, I think is really what allows you guys to be so successful. And so I'm really impressed, obviously, with the level to which you guys have taken this whole program. As Jen mentioned, we were never able to clinch that championship, and I think it was a source of frustration to all of us. And so I think it would have been an experience for any of us, and we would have loved that. Playing under any of the last 2 coaches would have been awesome.
Well, I appreciate it. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, so I've made a couple of games at Navy. I try to make the Navy game every year when it's at Navy. And when I lived in DC, I tried to make the AU game. And one thing I know Jen mentioned, we had a good fan base and we had support of our families, friends. But I really noticed the community in Lewisburg, surrounding you guys when you go up to Soika, and how, it's become just an event now to go to a women's basketball game. And that's great. That's as it should be. In Davis Gymnasium, when the men would play, they used to call it the pit, right? Because people would be lined up all over. And unfortunately, we never had that as the women's team. We had fans, but it's nice that you guys are getting such enthusiasm from the community. And I really do commend you guys on how well you've done.
Yeah. Thank you. We are lucky. I know I've had conversations with other coaches in the Patriot League, and they all say that their teams love coming to Bucknell because there are people at the game. Mm-hmm. And they also mentioned the country cupboard where they like to eat. I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah, they mentioned the buffet over there. So, okay, next, just advice. If you were in front of the team right now, or if they were on this call, is there any advice that you would give them as they go through their experience here at Bucknell? Susie, I think you're up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would dovetail off of what Marie said, appreciate, what you have and, live in the moment. And, I think being able to, again, that balance at Bucknell is something that just really is so important. I mean, unless basketball is going to be your life, you need something else to do after you finish playing basketball. And I think that Bucknell does such an amazing job at that. I would love if either of my kids attended there as well. But yeah, I think to just, keep your nose to the grindstone. You've got a very finite amount of time to see what you're capable of. So you might as well, give it your all and walk away knowing that you left it on the court and in the classroom and all that other good stuff.
Great.
Yeah, I don't think I could summarize it better than Susie. That's just really appreciate what you have. And it may be hard at times balancing, the academics and the basketball, but just you'll persevere and you'll be all the better for it.
Jen?
Yeah, I mean, it goes so fast. In fact, when I go, my kids laugh at me because when I go to visit them at school, I want to just stay. I want to go back. And I tell them regularly, these are the best 4 years if you take full advantage of everything that the experience has to offer, athletically, academically, socially, growing as a human, all of that. So just take advantage of every second you have there, because it will be gone tomorrow, and then you'll be on to the real world and all that has to offer.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, ladies. You've been great. I would throw it to you and say, do you have any questions for me in terms of, where do we see the program going? What are our goals, our visions, anything that jumps to mind? Oh, you're nice.
I don't have any questions per se. I just wish you all the luck, continuing to build on the program and the success that they've had. I would love to see, a good showing at the upcoming alumni game. So we've got to I know I've talked to you about that before. We have to get word out early and get my 80s crew to come back. If not for playing, at least for a little mini reunion and socializing and whatever all that entails. But yeah, best of luck.
Thank you.
So given COVID-19, what do you see in your future and the way things are?
Well, I know referees are hoping I have to wear a mask. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's all over the board, and depending on where you are, the situations differ so greatly. Here in central Pennsylvania, we've been really lucky. Cases and deaths and all of those things. We've got to travel up to Boston for a game. Their situation's very different down in DC or more urban settings. Maybe this is one of those times where being farm country is a good thing. But we're just going to wait and see. I have really great faith in the leadership here at Bucknell, from our athletic department right through to President Hoffman. I think they will make decisions for us. And then the Patriot League, they're at the front end of all this. They're really smart people. We'll have to wait and see. I think there'll be some differences. They may cut some games and cut some travel, and I don't know what they'll do with fans. All that stuff's still up in the air, but it'll certainly be a little bit different for a while until we get things figured out.
Yeah, and likewise, same with Jen. I wish you guys the best of luck. I live outside DC, so I anticipate seeing you guys at American, hopefully, and maybe Navy, where I'm from originally, from Annapolis. So,
Okay.
And Marie, I'll be Facebook messaging you to get out to that game too.
I will, yeah, for sure. I'm an empty nester now, so I can.
Maybe
That'll
coach
be
will
great.
let us sit on the end of the bench.
Are you kidding me? You can sit on the front of the bench.
Yeah.
I'll give them the pregame talk. I'll work up a special pregame talk, coach. It'll
You
be
got it. You got
That'll
it.
be a doozy.
That's an easy one. I appreciate it. Thank you, ladies.
absolutely.
Todd, back to you, buddy.
Well, ladies, it was great to see all of you. It's fun to catch up. Maria, I haven't seen you in a long time, so it was great to be with you. And I see every year at the alumni game, so I see her a lot. And Hop, you and Christine Center coming out supporting the program. And you guys talked about crowds in Davis Gym when you played, and I was one of those people that sat in those wooden blue bleachers you guys play. And it's a tribute to you all and your programs that you helped build to what we have today. And now, as Jen mentioned, you know, we've got 900 fans for our women's games in Soika Pavilion, which is just, and it's because of the foundation that you guys all helped put in place. So thank you for that. And thanks again for joining us today. I hope you and your family stay safe and healthy. And I look forward to seeing you all back here for the alumni game next year. And Jen, we will get that date out early. Coach has no
All right, good.
second year now, so we're good on that.
Right.
We'll get it out early.
All right. So guys, thanks a lot. Stay Bison strong and go Bucknell.